You're chilling on your couch watching Netflix. Your stomach rumbles. You are hungry. You open your fridge and you see some leftover spaghetti. But you're not sure if it's bad or not, so you do the sniff test. A sour smell overwhelms your nose. You throw it in the trash. That reflex, believe it or not, is a product of millions of years of evolution. You see, someone in your family tree tested a deadly plant with their own body. No lab, no warning, no second opinion. Just a bite and a consequence. Maybe it was a cluster of bright berries that looked almost identical to something they had eaten before. Maybe it was a root dug from the ground after days of hunger. When the risk of doing nothing started to feel worse than the risk of being wrong, they tried it because they had to. Hunger narrows your options until curiosity and desperation start to look the same. And whatever happened after that moment did not disappear. If they survived, they carried that knowledge forward. If they didn't, someone else watched, and that observation became a lesson. That is the quiet system behind human survival. Not certainty, but memory built from experience. For most of human history, food was not a convenience. Every bite was a gamble. Every unfamiliar plant raised a question that had real consequences. There were no categories like edible or poisonous neatly laid out. There were gradients. Some things were safe in small amounts, but harmful in large ones. Some were edible only at certain times of year. Some were safe for one person and not for another. Some just outright kills you if you eat it. The natural world was not labeled, and so humans had to build their own map of it. The first layer of that map was the body itself. Early humans relied heavily on their senses, especially when encountering something new. Smell often came first. A sour or rotten odor suggested decay. A sharp or chemical smell could signal something unfamiliar or potentially harmful. Taste came next, but in tiny amounts. A small bite could reveal bitterness, and bitterness often meant caution. This sensitivity is not accidental. Humans have specific taste receptors, including those studied in TAS2R genes, that are tuned to detect compounds commonly found in toxic plants. Many alkaloids, which are defensive chemicals produced by plants, activate these receptors. That immediate reaction to spit something out is part of a system shaped over a long evolutionary history. But the body's warnings were never complete. Some toxins are tasteless, others are slow-acting. A plant might seem harmless at first and only cause harm hours later. So humans developed another strategy that was just as important. They paid attention to what happened around them. Imagine a small group moving through a landscape at the edge of their known territory. One person tries a new plant or fruit. That person becomes ill later that evening. The others will take note of that pattern. The next time they see that plant, there is hesitation. Maybe they avoid it entirely. Maybe they test it again in a smaller amount. Over time, the group builds a shared understanding. Observation extended beyond other humans. Early people watched animals closely. A bird repeatedly eating a certain fruit without harm suggested that fruit might be safe. A herd avoiding a plant entirely suggested the opposite. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherers, including groups like the Hadza, have documented how food knowledge is often learned socially. Younger members watch older ones. They see what is gathered, how it is prepared, and what is avoided. Knowledge is not rediscovered each generation. It is inherited and refined. There is a story often told in anthropological circles about children learning to forage. They are not given a list of safe plants. Instead, they follow adults. They observe which leaves are picked and which are ignored. They notice how certain foods are handled carefully while others are eaten immediately. Over time, they internalize patterns. They learn what's safe and what to avoid. Still, even with observation, there were mistakes. Some of the most important discoveries came from foods that were not clearly safe or dangerous. These were the foods that required transformation. Cassava is one of the clearest examples. In its raw form, it contains compounds that can release cyanide, making it potentially deadly if eaten improperly. Yet it is now a staple food for hundreds of millions of people. That transformation did not happen by accident. It required a sequence of steps that reduce its toxicity. Peeling, grating, soaking, fermenting, and cooking all play a role. Each of those steps likely emerged through repeated attempts and careful observation. Someone noticed that soaking the plant reduced its harmful effects. Someone else discovered that cooking it further improved safety. Over time, these steps became standardized. Similar stories exist for other foods. Many beans contain natural toxins that are only destroyed through proper cooking. The kidney bean is a good example. Eat it raw or undercooked, and it can make you seriously sick. But boil it properly, and it becomes a safe, reliable source of protein. That simple step, something we take for granted today, is the result of generations learning what works and what doesn't. Grains tell a similar story. Foods like maize weren't always easy for the human body to use. In many cultures, corn was soaked in an alkaline solution, a process that made key nutrients more available. Without that knowledge, people could survive on corn and still become malnourished. Fermentation follows the same pattern. Letting microbes break down food could reduce toxins, improve digestion, and make food last longer. And humans didn't just learn plants, they learned animals too. Meat was often safer as it didn't carry the same chemical defenses like plants, but it came with different risks: spoilage, parasites, toxins. Early humans learned to read those signs as well: the smell of rot, the texture of decay. And once they discovered fire, everything changed. Cooking didn't just make food taste better, it made it safer. The real power behind all of this was not individual discovery, but shared knowledge. Humans are not the fastest or strongest species, but they are exceptionally good at learning from one another. Researchers like Joseph Henrich have argued that this ability to accumulate knowledge across generations is one of the defining features of our species. It allows humans to build complex systems of understanding that no single individual could develop alone. Food knowledge is a clear example of this. It is not just what one person knows, but what a community remembers. Over generations, knowledge about food became more precise. People learned not only which plants were safe, but also when they were safe to eat. Some plants are edible only at certain stages, while others become toxic as they mature. Preparation methods also improved. Soaking, cooking, and combining ingredients were refined through experience. What seems simple today reflects a deep understanding of the environment. Traces of this knowledge still exist in us. When you smell spoiled food and instinctively pull away, you are relying on evolved sensory responses. When you avoid a food that once made you sick, you are experiencing conditioned taste aversion. This type of learning can occur after just one negative experience and helps prevent repeated harm. There are also subtler instincts. You may hesitate around unfamiliar foods, take small tastes first, or trust foods that others are eating safely. These behaviors are not random. They are patterns shaped and reinforced over time. Our ancestors did not have modern scientific explanations. Instead, they relied on observation, memory, and learning from experience. Over thousands of years, they developed systems that allowed humans to survive in many different environments.